Hi, this is Brian Clapp, Director of Content for WorkinSports.com, and yes, you are in the right place. This is still the Workin' Sports Podcast. This sound, or rather song poisoning, since I've been singing it in my head for the last 6 days, is the hold music that plays when you call the Savannah Bananas Collegiate Summer League baseball team offices.
It's the best, beat the rest. Cellular, modular, interactive, modular, ring, 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 banana phone.
It's catchy, isn't it? Ring, 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 banana phone. And that's how this whole thing started. And by this, I mean my 45-minute call with Savannah Bananas owner, Jesse Cole, and that I'm about to let you listen in on. In my near 25 years working in sports, I've come across a few people like Jesse. They've got crazy energy, they've got enthusiasm, spirit, fearlessness, all those great qualities. Jesse wears a yellow tuxedo to each game, every social event, every media gathering. It's become as much of a part of their brand as the Banana Mamas Dancing Grannies act that he has on the concourse, greeting fans as they enter Grayson Stadium in Savannah. I've met showmen before, people that are all sizzle and little substance, but Jesse is not that. Jesse Cole differs from all the other greatest shows on earth. His business formulas are rooted in guiding principles and a belief system that is at his core. It's true, it's real, it's not an act. He may not talk margins, but I get the vibe he knows them pretty well. He may not say things like return on investment, but he knows when he invests his money where his cultural beliefs are, good things follow. And by culture, I mean the culture that he's established within his community, his employees, and the market at large. He works on more than just instinct and passion, guts and guile. He has that it factor. He'll talk about every touch point being an amazing representation of who they are as a team, culture, and brand, which gets back to the hold music you just heard. They focused on these little details. They wanted to make them personable and memorable, and that's how they do things with the Bananas. If it sounds like I'm kind of slobbering all over Jesse, well, yeah, I may be, because I was impressed, really impressed by Jesse Cole, and that doesn't come easy for me. I can tend to be grizzled and formed and have expectations on how things should be. But Jesse, I'll be honest, he opened my eyes to many things I had previously dismissed, and I'm not going to lie. He put a little smile on my face for a few days before I returned to my curmudgeonly self where I doubted everything and criticized people. Many people can put on a wacky, crazy show, but that honeymoon period will end. What Jesse Cole has done is create a culture, a system that infectiously spreads throughout all the aspects of their business, from their community relations to their media outreach to their penguin dress parking lot attendance, and definitely to the way they treat employees and fans. Jesse's company, the company that owns the Gastonia Grizzlies and the Savannah Bananas, is called Fans First Entertainment. And it's not just empty words on a business card. It's really the embodiment of a world he has created. He focuses on the fans and works backwards from there. How can I entertain them? How can I put a smile on their face? How can I leave a lasting impression? And that's how he's recreated marketing. That's how he's recreated his sports business. And it's really inspiring. He says that he gets up early, he reads, he goes for a run, and then he starts writing down ideas. That is his routine, and his mind really stops churning. There's a point of our interview that's coming up where he says, "Ooh, I just got an idea." And he starts jotting down a note. It just never stops. That mind is working. I believe that he is constantly thinking about ways to make the fan experience better, and I think you will too. This could be the most informative, perspective-changing, mind-altering podcast that you listen to on the Workin' Sports Podcast. So get ready to soak it all in, because here comes Jesse Cole, and there's a warning. We both talk fast. Hey, Jesse, how's it going?
Outstanding. Doing well.
So I have to warn everybody before we get started into this, for all you listening at home, Jesse and I spoke yesterday to kind of prepare ourselves for this conversation, and we are two guys that speak fast, think fast, have a lot to say, so this is going to move quickly. If you want to, you might want to slow down the speed. I wouldn't speed up your playback. If anything, you might want to slow things down. Is that about right, Jesse?
Yeah, we could probably break the record for most words spoken in this interview, so this is exciting.
Yeah, exactly. So let's start at the beginning. So I'm really curious about this. You are a pretty young guy, and yet you're owner of a baseball franchise. Kind of take us from the beginning of this, when you came up with the concept of, I want to own a baseball team, and how it got to where you are now.
I love that question because it's like, how do you own a baseball team? You're in your 30s, and it's like, very simple answer: take on a lot of debt. That's the easiest way to own a team. But long story short, I was 23 years old when I got a job as a general manager in Gastonia, North Carolina, as the Gastonia Grizzlies. And I'll never forget that first day. I showed up to the ballpark, and I found out the real numbers. I found out that the team had only averaged about 200 fans a game.
Oh.
I found out that the team had lost over $100,000 a year, and I found out that there was only $268 in the bank account, and we had 3 full-time employees, and payroll was on Friday. That was my first day.
And that's what told you, I want to be an owner someday? Like, you really want to take that on?
So when I realized, I was like, wow, this is really exciting. And this is terrible, but also very exciting, because I think whenever you take over something, it's not the best situation to take it over when it's doing very well. So I thought, wow, we are at rock bottom. We're one of the lowest performing college summer teams in the country. So as general manager there, I was fortunate that I went to the owner and said, hey, we can no longer be a baseball team. We have to make it about entertainment. And so we came up with the concept of having dancing players and grandma beauty pageants and just crazy promotions. and he gave me the ownership and said, Jesse, we've got nothing to lose. Let's do it. So as a 23-year-old general manager, I started seeing myself as the owner then. Literally, I couldn't pay myself for months. So I was treating it like an owner. And then from there, we were fortunate to have tremendous success and, start selling out games and averaging over 2,000 fans a night. And in 2014, my wife and I, who wife's in the business, she worked for Ripken Baseball and then started working with us with the Grizzlies. We bought the team in 2014 and jumped into ownership then. And then just about a year later, we said, let's keep going. And we bought an expansion franchise and moved it down to Savannah, Georgia. So right now we own 2 teams, and it's been a crazy 10 years, to say the least.
Okay, so I have to imagine that it was the Grandma Beauty Contest that kind of set things going on the right stage. Who was the original winner of the Grandma Beauty Contest? Do you remember?
Oh, it was Gertrude. She was 87 years old, and I'll never forget. Yeah, her name was Gertrude. That's like the perfect name of someone that would win that.
It is. It was either that or Ruby or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Francis. What was great about Gertrude was that we had a question. It was, if you could be on the cover of one magazine, what would it be? And she said, of course, Playboy. And so she won with that answer.
Okay, so when you decided to buy and then move the Savannah team, what was it you were inheriting? If this Gastonia team had tons of debt, wasn't selling out tickets, you had $236 in the bank, and it didn't take over until you started to change your entire philosophy of how you're going to run things, what were you getting when you bought the Savannah team? Was it similar, or was it already on a better path?
Well, it was a completely different situation. So, I in 2014, at the last game of the year, I proposed to my wife in my yellow tuxedo in front of a sold-out crowd, and thank goodness she said yes, because that would have been very awkward. Yeah. And then a few days later, she surprised me with a trip to Savannah. So we went to Savannah and went to the ballpark, and there was a minor league team there, the Savannah Sand Gnats. There's been minor league baseball there for 90 years, one of the oldest ballparks in the country. And we went on a Saturday night. It was 80 degrees, perfect night, and there was less than 500 fans. And what the former team said is they wanted a new stadium or they were going to leave because they couldn't have success. So they didn't get the new stadium. We found out they were going to leave. They ended up going to Columbia, South Carolina, and we reached out to the city and started the relationship and basically said, hey, we want to come in here. And the city took a chance on us and let us get a lease at the ballpark, and we came in on October 5th, 2015, starting with nothing. I mean, literally nothing. Everything was taken out of the ballpark. The phone lines were cut. The internet lines were cut. We were working on a picnic table inside an old storage building, and that's how we started, just about 2 years ago.
So, okay, 2 things come to mind when you say that. Initially, my first response is I'm annoyed by the previous owners going into a blaming kind of campaign where they're like, their mentality was, oh, we can't survive here. We can't possibly thrive. There's no way we can sell this out, and it's a stadium problem. And they were into blaming right away, and yet you came in and had a totally different approach to how to fix this problem. So I always feel like there's 2 different types of people. There's those that blame everybody else for what goes wrong in their lives, and then there's other type of people that look at it and say, this is a problem I can fix, and they take an aggressive standpoint. Have you always kind of been have you always kind of been that way, where you've always kind of seen a problem and said, I can beat this?
It's a lot more fun. You think about it, I tell everyone, what's your story? So when you ask anybody, do they have a good story to tell? And a great story to tell isn't coming into somewhere where it's really successful and making it a little better. The great stories, the ones that everyone tell over and over again, when you come into something and it's unbelievable adversity, unbelievable challenges, and you overcome them. So yes, we always look for that. Yeah. And it's more fun. And how do you build a great and amazing culture? you tell stories, and you have stories to tell. And our whole staff in 2 years in Savannah, going into our third year, we've had zero turnover because we're a part of something much bigger than ourselves. And that story, which is a long story and how we've got to the success, that's what's really built this.
Yeah, we'll definitely get into your hiring and your retention plans and all those kind of things. We're going to get there. I have to go back for a second, though. You said that you wore the yellow tuxedo before you owned the Savannah Bananas. Now, I always thought that it was the yellow tuxedo was tied into the brand of the bananas. This has been a thing for you for longer than that?
Oh yeah, an amazing coincidence. I've worn it since 2012. I own 6 of them. I've slept in them. I've proposed in them. I'm probably the only returning customer ever at brightcoloredtuxedos.com.
Probably.
And no, the reality is the Gastonia Grizzlies had yellow in their colors. It was just black and yellow. So I said, black is way too hot in the middle of the summer.
Right.
So I found a yellow one, back in 2012, and when we named the Bananas, it was just perfect.
Yeah, it worked out perfectly. You could use your tuxedos still. So okay, you take over what is the Sand Gnats, right? And did you immediately rebrand them as the Bananas? And how did that happen? Because I do feel like especially for minor league and collegiate league baseball, that mascot, that brand becomes such a big part of it. Right,
100%. And to be clear, we didn't take over the Sand Gnats. The Sand Gnats were gone. So basically, the minor league team, they went to Columbia. They rebranded.
Right.
So we came in fresh slate, nothing. And so we did a name the team contest, and we were very specific to the community. We want outrageous, we want unique, we want different, because I believe this normal gets normal results. And if you're trying to do something normal like everyone else, you're not going to succeed. So we got 1,000 suggestions, and I think 995 of them were all normal, like seagulls and ports and anchors. And then one woman suggested bananas, and just one. And I saw it, and we looked at each other, and we were like, yes. And
there
we
it is.
Envisioning. Yep. Yeah, we're like, we could have a senior citizen dance team called the Banana Nanas. We could name our mascot Split. Go Bananas. We could have banana beer. We could have a promotion called Banana in the Pants. I mean, we thought about all these crazy ideas. Like the branding and marketing opportunity, it fits us because the name of our company is Fans First Entertainment, and what is fun, what is unique, and what is different. So we rolled the dice and decided to go with Bananas. And not many people know the 6 months before we became the Bananas was probably the toughest personal and professional time my wife and I and our staff have ever had, because no one believed in us, no one gave us a chance, and it got as bad as it gets.
Okay, so how do you keep that then? You've got a staff, you've got debt, you've got this project in front of you. How do you keep positive momentum, positive belief? How do you not go to sleep at night having doubts this can actually work?
Well, I didn't sleep at night. I mean, what happened, I'll never forget the phone call I received in January, and basically one of our staff members said, we overdrafted our account, we have no money, we're completely out of money. And my wife and I were at my friend's wedding, and we drove back, and she turned to me, we were only 5 months into our marriage, she said, we have to sell our dream house. So we had our dream house in Charlotte. We sold that. We had to empty out our savings account. We said the only chance we have of saving our team in Savannah and our employees is we got to go all in. So we bought this one of the ugliest houses you could ever imagine. You talk about fixing things up and looking at opportunities. I walked in and walked immediately out and said, no way, we're going to buy this. We got an airbed. We lived on $30 a week on ramen noodles, and we just invested everything we could into Savannah. And the reason was no one believed in us. For 5 months, we were this college summer team coming after a professional team, and no one believed us. They were like, oh, sure, you're going to be fun. Sure, you're going to be different. They've been burned so many times by just a baseball team that it got so bad that we knew we had to create attention and choose a name and show the brand that we get people talking. And that's when everything changed with Bananas. And to answer your question, the staff was, you got to find people that care. That we can train them. Our staff cared so much. I remember our president's face when I told him that we had emptied out our savings account. He was devastated. And he was devastated because he felt like he let us down. And he would do anything to keep the staff motivated to work hard. And, it's moments like that I can visualize his face, that everyone's in it together. And that's what we've built. We've built a culture that everyone cares. I mean, right now, I'm on the phone with you, but our entire staff and their spouses, best friends are on a cruise that we took care of them because, we believe in moments and creating a family. And that's what they're doing right now. And that's how you build something bigger than yourself. yourself, and I think that's how you grow a business.
Yeah, so I can't wait to talk more about that. But let's keep on. I have a bit of an outline here. I want to keep things somewhat focused.
Trying to keep an outline until you go through like the expected with me is very, very.
Well, no, this is the funny thing. I haven't asked a single thing off of my outline yet. Like I'm basically like I'm flowing with you and just kind of feeling whatever comes into my head, and then you talk about your tuxedo, and there we go.
Know, Brian, my motto is whatever's normal, do the exact opposite. So if I can get you off your outline, that's a win-win for me.
I can sense that. I hate having an outline, to be honest with you. Maybe I should just throw it out.
So let's have fun, man.
I know, right? So, okay, how big was your staff when you originally took over? I think you said it was 4, right?
Yes, it was my wife and I and 4. And now let me be very clear. 3 people just out of college graduated that May, and then 1 president who was 24 years old.
So senior staff.
So that was our staff taking over this brand new franchise in Savannah.
So so you name it the Bananas, you have the contest, it gets named the Bananas, you're feeling energized, you got all these marketing ideas popping into your head, you can see what's going to happen. But how do you was it instantaneous with the community once you started doing these things? Was it a slow build?
Yeah, let's be clear. As soon as we came out with Bananas, yes, the world took notice, but how was it locally? We saved all the letters, emails, tweets. The owner should be thrown out of town. You guys are an embarrassment. You'll never sell a ticket. I wasn't sleeping after the announcement, and people didn't even know. The week before we got our first shipment of shirts, Bananas was spelled wrong. There were too many N's. I mean, whatever could go wrong did go wrong. But what happened is, everyone was talking about it. I mean, literally it was #1 trending on Twitter that night ahead of Donald Trump, and he had a debate. I mean, literally it was on SportsCenter for 15 minutes. And so merchandise started selling all over the country. And then again, my wife and I had to max out our credit cards because we ordered too
buy
little
more merchandise. Yeah.
Exactly. So what happened was we got criticized tremendously locally, and everyone said you guys are going to fail. But here's the big key, and I always say this, attention beats marketing 1,000% of the time. And what happened was everyone was talking, so at least now people knew who we were.
Right.
And now when our salespeople and our ticket people called, they at least heard of the team. Whether they laughed and said they'll never work with you, at least they heard of us. And what we did is all those terrible remarks, everything that people said that we'll fail, we'll never sell a ticket, we won't last a year, we saved all those. And we held all those, and we looked and said, guys, they're going against us. Let's believe in ourselves. We can do this. It was a rallying call. And then a year after, when we were fortunate to have our success and sell out almost every game, we did a mean tweets video where we literally, our whole staff read all those mean tweets. And, it's so funny. We were reading them. Half the people that said those negative things became season ticket holders with the team.
And they probably have a T-shirt, a hat, a jersey.
Oh, you better believe it. You better believe it. So, I think people need to be able to embrace criticism more. I think if you're getting criticized, that means you're doing something different. And if you're playing it safe, you don't win. So I think it's a different way of looking at business. And everyone tries to play the safe route and take the generic names. And we went crazy, and we kept going crazy. Everything we do is crazy, and I think that's what's helping us be successful.
Well, okay, so you have 4 staff members, most of them not really necessarily qualified or experienced. As the team starts to get some momentum, and you start to get some more attention, and you start to have these needs that crop up, were you like in panic mode of a different sort now, where you're like, oh crap, now we have to actually manage this product, now we have actually a lot to do and we don't have the staff to do it? How do we fill these gaps?
You learn figuring it out. So, for instance, as soon as the merchandise orders started happening every couple seconds that first night, I mean, we had to bring in temporary staff, and we brought in girlfriends and wives of our staff. We literally brought the people we knew. And what was interesting, a girlfriend of Danny, and Danny was a kid who didn't have a job with us, but was so persistent and said, "I want to work for us." So we gave him a job and put him in sales. Then his girlfriend and now fiance started working with us, and then we hired her full time to be over merchandise and community relations. So we started hiring pretty quickly after we needed it. It wasn't just hiring and hoping that it would work out.
Right.
We needed it. And so then we went quickly. We started, adding people left and right to take on the demand. And I think that's a lot of businesses, they hire 10, 15 people. They're like, all right, I hope we get the sales. We were getting the sales, and then we were hiring from there. It was just a different approach because we didn't have the money to invest. Yeah, we didn't have the money to invest in the beginning. And then once we started selling, we could invest more.
So, okay, now let's take a step back. What is your kind of approach to hiring? Because I've said this before. I had one of my mentors told me, he said, the most important thing you will do in your entire career is hire good people. Like yes, of course, there's other factors of your job, but you need to be really good at hiring. Having the right staff makes all the difference in the world. So what is 100%. Your kind of approach to hiring? How do you find those right people?
100%. I'll tell you the number one thing for us that I've seen, and we get hundreds of applicants, and we are one of the few teams that are constantly hiring. I mean, we now have 14 full-time. We're hiring 3 more full-time right now. I mean, we're going to be 20, 25 soon within the next year or two just with our Savannah franchise. Here's the one thing, and I tell everyone this: persistence. If someone shows me persistence in trying to get a job and responsiveness, that shows a lot. And I'll give you 3 examples quickly. We had this person, Reginald, who disability special, and basically what he did, he called every week trying to get a game day staff position with us. Called every single week, and he's like, "When's the job fair? When's the job fair?"
Yeah.
And we answered, and he came to work. And he became our most beloved game day staff member. Literally, he picked up trash around the stadium and exit greeted fans. Amazing. Another person, Mark Edis Shark, literally, he was our announcer. He started reaching out to us in October before the season even started. And every couple of weeks, here's what I'm going to do. What that shows is unbelievable caring. You know, you care so much. You have this drive to be successful, and you want to work for someone. So many people shoot out a resume and just hope they'll hear back. I want you to reach out over and over and over and over again. That shows you're passionate. That shows you want to work for us, and that shows once you get the job, you're going to continue that passion and persistence. So, you know, those 2, and then Danny, who worked so hard to get a job for us full time. What did he turn out to be? Our best salesperson I've ever seen. What he did this past year is he raised over $100,000 for local nonprofits through our fundraising program. That is amazing.
Yeah,
and he
is.
single-handedly is one of the reasons why we saw out almost every game, because of his effort and his leading of the ticket sales department. So, you know, that's the thing that I look for. And then, you know, stand out. So everyone, they send a resume. You know, who cares? What we look for is we ask for future resumes. So that's us showing how we're different. We want to see what you're going to do in the future, not what you did in the past. And we ask for a video cover letter.
Okay.
The reality is everything we're doing is movies now. I don't want to just see something on a paper. I want to see you come to life. I want to see your energy, your personality, how fun you are. So send a video cover letter. What happens is we get about 300 applicants, say, for a position. Then we write back to the ones we like.
Yeah.
And we ask for that video cover letter and the future resume. And I bet you right there we get only 10% of those because it's more work. And if people can't put the work in to potentially try to get a job with you, they're not going to be great when they join you.
Yeah, that's for sure. If they're not going to put in the work to get the job, then what good are they going to do when they actually have it?
100%. 100%. And then I think the final thing that's most important is you got to be able to understand what your core beliefs are, what your values are, and you got to make sure that that person fits that. So we're very clear. We call it the fans first way, and that's always be caring, different, enthusiastic, fun, growing, and hungry. And we actually have them write why they are all those characteristics, how they fit into that, and show that in their video. Because if you can't fit the fans first way, you're not going to fit well with us. And I think if a company doesn't have core beliefs or a mission or a value system, I think they're behind, and I think they're not going to really fit with you. There's a reason why we haven't had turnover, because we're finding people that fit our core values and our belief. So all 3 of that happens before we even start the really interview process.
Right.
That's just to get to the interview process, and then that goes on for a month or 2, because most companies, what they do is they hire fast, and then they have to manage more. You know, what we do is we hire slow, so we manage less.
Oh, makes perfect sense. So now, when you first are looking at your, there's probably a formula that an owner would follow and say, okay, I need 5 salespeople, I need 2 people in marketing, I need 3 people over here. Since you do things differently, did you approach even the what you needed kind of process a little differently? Like I know we talked a little bit about some of the specific roles that you have on the staff. What was your approach to what you actually needed to fill?
100%. I think one of the biggest, I think, challenges that companies look for is that they want well-rounded people. All right. Yeah, they want well-rounded people to take well-rounded positions.
Yeah.
We try to hire and bring people all in on their strengths, and I think that's such a key. Because think about this: no one can be great at everything. I'll tell you right now, I am the worst operation person in the world. My staff makes fun of me so much. Like, I can't carry things, I can't zip tie things, I can't put things together. So every time that I'm trying to do that, we are losing as a business. Yep. What should I be doing? I'm the crazy guy in the yellow tuxedo. I should be out promoting, marketing, talking to people. That's what I should be doing. Most companies, when they bring on interns, they're like, oh, you'll be involved in a lot of different things. We used to believe that, but I'll tell you 100%, I believe the opposite. Right now, we have a full-time videographer. All he does is produce videos. And how has it worked out? In the last year, we've got almost 2 million views on our videos, and that's what he does. He's amazing at it. He doesn't touch anything else. Yep. We have our director of first impressions. She doesn't get involved in sales. She is all about that first impression from people coming in our office, from handling the calls, and from the first impressions for the people we hire and our vendors. Everything we specialize, and it makes us so much stronger because we're becoming amazing at certain things, and then you have the best possible business. So I believe going all in your strengths and stop trying to be so well-rounded, become amazing at something that you love and that you can be the best at.
I mean, it sounds like you lead by example, too. Is that you're out there, you're putting in the work, and you're showing everybody that there's a positive result that comes out of hard work. So minor league baseball and even your college baseball league is notorious for high turnover. People come in, they work for a little bit, they get a spot on their resume, and then they move on to something that they think is bigger, better, whatever. You said earlier that you have near zero turnover. How does that happen?
Well, you know why? Here's the thing. Most owners, most managers, they feel their employees work for them.
Yeah.
I and our president and our staff feel the exact opposite. We work for you guys. So our job is to empower, develop, and help our people grow. And it's a whole different system of looking at it. When most people they see people as a cog to their system. How can they help bring in more sales? This is the way most businesses, especially in the sports industry.
Yeah.
They're looking, how can I sell more tickets? How can I bring in more revenue? It is the opposite for us. And I'll tell you, here's a great example. 3 months ago, we let our entire staff come up with their own salaries. Everyone.
Okay.
This is, even if they were with us for 6 months, they came up with their own salary. And what do you think happened? It was a very scary day as an owner.
I was going to say, I have no idea. That sounds really scary.
They asked for substantial raises. I'm talking 25, 30% raises.
Okay.
And, we looked at them and said, all right, this is your team. You're a part of this. We believe in you. We love you. We say those words. We care about you. And we know that you'll be accountable and responsible for that. So what has happened in the last 2 months, 3 months since we've done that?
Yeah.
Our business is up almost 250%, and that's in our third year, which most times you see kind of the honeymoon phase off. It's because you're treating people like owners. You're not treating people like they're a cog in the system. And what's been built from this company in Fans First Entertainment, I say it all the time, it's our fans are not the people on the outside. Our fans are the people that work for us, that are literally out there wearing our merchandise, calling their parents when great things happen. So take care of them. They're our biggest fans, and when you take care of your people, they more than you can even imagine take care of the business.
See, I would have been the idiot that labored over that question. Like if you asked me okay, so what would you like to be paid? I would have labored over it for weeks and then come back with a 5% bump over what I had because I would have felt bad asking for more. So it sounds like your staff was a lot smarter than I am.
Well, I think they value themselves, and they know the business is successful. They know we sold out every single game, and they know what's great is that they know if they're going to ask for that, whether it's a $5,000-$10,000 raise or whatever it is, that they're going to hold themselves accountable. And I think that's the reality of how all businesses should think. And these kids, and I'm calling them kids, they're adults, but 23 to 26 years old.
Yep.
And they
They're
have
hungry.
that responsibility. How do you think they're going to be in 5-10 years from now, whether they're with us or with someone else?
Well, that's it. It's almost like being a parent where the more responsibility sometimes you give your kids, you feel like they actually start to mature and make smarter decisions faster. And if you can do the same thing with the early employees and say, you're going to be trusted with this, but don't do it wrong because then I'm not going to trust you anymore, then you actually are building a stronger relationship with them as well.
100%.
Yeah.
But I mean, the thing is, we make it where they're not too scared of failure.
Right.
I say this all the time. We have to be trying new things and getting crazy and being different. That is our brand. Our brand is fun and different. So if they're not failing with certain things, I'm like, guys, we haven't done something that's failed recently. We need to try more new things.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can't be afraid to fail. So,
100%.
Okay, you said before that your tickets you're sold out for how long now? You have
We've got 32 straight games that are sold out. We have a waiting list in the thousands. Last year, we turned away over 20,000 people. It's what's happened. I pinch myself. It's amazing, but it's built when you have a culture of our people just working so hard to take care of our fans. So
for sure.
I mean, literally. I mean, it looks like our season has very good chances next year will be sold out before the season even starts, which is just amazing.
You don't seem the type to me to sit back and say, "Great, we made it." So I'm done now. I imagine you're looking at it and saying, okay, ticket sales were sold out. That's great. That's a huge piece of the revenue pie. But what else should we be doing next? So how else do you guys build the business to its potential if your biggest slice is already kind of covered?
Well, you got to know what your mission is. So, for instance, while we say fans first, entertain always, and that's everything we do, we know that our mission is bigger in the sense that it's the difference that we make in people's lives and it's the impact that we make in people's lives. So what we look at, we don't talk dollars. and our staff came up with this themselves, which I love. It's all about impacts. So we celebrate the amount of people that we impact. So
Okay.
for instance, this past year, if we impacted 115,000 people at our 26 games or whatever it was, how can we impact 200,000 people? How can we impact 1 million people online? So we've created basically 3 systems to our business: our games, our events, and our media. And we are going all in now on the events and media. So we're hiring people to bring on more concerts, more festivals,
Okay.
and then the media, how can we actually have, we're hiring content producers. We're going to hire a director of attention. We're going to hire a director of fun. Those are 2 of our full-time positions coming up. That's going to work with our videographer and our marketing coordinator to get us out more in front of the media, because that can impact more people. The next step for us isn't our games. It's our impact the 330 days a year.
Yeah.
And that's where we're making all of our strides right now.
So the community now, you feel like they've embraced you a lot differently, like they're seeing you in a different light than they did originally on the mean tweets?
It's so funny. I speak a lot in the community, and I always open with, thank you guys for inviting me here to speak with you. When we first came out with the Bananas name, I wasn't invited anywhere. And the reality is things have changed. And our staff does a great job getting out there and doing mascot appearances and speaking. So the community, fortunately, has embraced us, but that gives us even more of a responsibility that we can't take that for granted, and we can continue to put more stuff out there and be more fun and make it a more fans-first experience. So it's actually more challenging now. Once it gets easy, that's when you need to work harder.
Right. So what is game day like? I mean, we've talked so much about your business and how it operates, and yet the reason people are coming to the game is because you're entertaining them, and it's a good value for their dollar and for their time. I mean, that's the hardest thing, I think, is to separate somebody from their time and their money, and you want to make it worthwhile. You want to give them something that they enjoy and pay back and all that sort of thing. Like you said, your interactions are so important. All of those touch points are so important. So what is game day like? Explain it to us on the outside who have never been to a Savannah Banana game. What makes it special?
Well, I'll frame it in a way too. Think about the people that are listening. Whatever team you're a part of, or if you want to get in the business, or if you're other business, think about literally what frustrates you about that business, what upsets you about that industry, and then work from there to create the perfect experience that goes against that. So, for instance, what I realized 10 years ago when no one cared about the Grizzlies games was that baseball, to a lot of people, was too long, too slow, and too boring. It wasn't as exciting and interactive.
Yep.
I also learned that most sporting events nickel and dime you. You pay your $10 for a ticket, then it's like $8 for a beer, $7 for a soda, $6 for a hot dog, and it just keeps going. So we started from there and said, all right, how can we develop a ticket that includes everything and make it all-inclusive? So we developed our all-you-can-eat ticket, which is all your burgers, chicken sandwiches, hot dogs, soda, water, popcorn, and dessert, birds, cookies, for $15, and that includes your ticket. So we started the point from there. Now you go back. When people first buy from you, what happens? Most times people buy online and they get a boring confirmation email. When you get an email, when you buy from us, you get an email that says, congrats, you just made the best decision of your day. Right now, as you buy your tickets, we grabbed them and hoisted them up in the air. We ran around the stadium doing Gatorade showers. We're celebrating and screaming your name right now, and now your tickets are in maximum security in our vault waiting for you to go bananas. That's their first experience.
Yep.
Then after that, they get a thank you call from our staff member. We do thousands of orders, but every single person gets a thank you call. Not that their credit card didn't work, just a thank you call.
Yeah.
Then, this is all before they even get to the ballpark. Then when they show up to the ballpark and they're driving to our parking lot, what's the first thing they see? Penguins.
I was going to guess bananas, but
they wouldn't work in the South. but we have parking attendants dressed up like penguins guiding you to your spot. Does it make any sense? Of course not. But to me, I thought it'd be hilarious to have people in penguin costumes, parking your cars. So then, as they park your car, what do they see next? As they're driving, as they're walking up to the stadium, we have our players in full uniform, passing out programs, doing autographs, and taking pictures. As they pass them, what do they see now? It's our 30-piece banana pep band. Yes, we're the only baseball team in the country that has a 30-piece banana pep band, but they'll be playing Uptown Funk and Rocky theme music and Final Countdown as they're walking to the stadium. Then as they get to the gate, what happens? A person in a banana costume rips their banana-shaped ticket to go into the ballpark, and then they'll see the Banana Nanas doing a Kesha dance or a Britney Spears dance right in the concourse. And this is all before they even get into the stadium. And then from there, we have a whole staff of performers, improv people, theater people that have never seen baseball games before, and their job is to entertain nonstop, pieing people in the crowd, dance-offs, sing-offs. I mean, we literally have people singing in the middle of the game, and that happens through an entire game. And then when the game's over, we have our entire staff waiting at the gate to thank them for their experience. During the game, we have a breakdancing first base coach that's literally doing Michael Jackson moonwalk during the game. We have a banana baby, a 6-month baby that we put in the banana costume, and we lift them up at home plate and sing the Lion King song. Nah, Savannah, and that's all a part of the experience. And now what we do is we think even more. What is more outrageous? What are things people are going to go home and say, you won't believe what I saw at the ballpark? And when you create something like that, you never have to really focus on marketing at all, because what you've done is create so much attention that everyone's saying, I had the most fun I've ever had at your games. And what you're doing is you're creating an emotion. Yep. And most people just try to just create a product. You got to create an emotion in your fans, and that's what we try to do every day.
See, it's funny because obviously I haven't been to a game, but as soon as you started talking about a penguin walking people, guiding people to their parking spot, I just naturally smiled, because it's funny, it's interesting, it's something you don't expect, and you are creating that by just thinking a little bit differently and saying, you know what, we could have a guy dressed in a normal, outfit for his business, or we could do this a little bit differently. And it sounds like you take that approach into every decision: is what is expected and what could I do differently, and how am I going to put a smile on somebody's face just naturally. They're not going to be able to control it. It's going to be like they saw America's Funniest Home Video where somebody got hit in the face with a baseball bat. You can't control it. It just happens. You just have to smile and laugh because it was completely unexpected.
And that comes from the top. I mean, people will see me. I'm in that full yellow tuxedo, maybe 104 degrees, but I'm out there high-fiving kids every single game. And it's the most rewarding part of my day, of a game day, is out there greeting fans when they're coming into the ballpark and greeting fans when they're leaving. So the challenge that most people do, it's a lot easier. It is so much easier to have regular parking attendants, or not even have parking attendants. It's so much easier to not have your ticket people dressed up in banana costumes. It's much easier not to have a 30-piece pep band that literally you have to buy all this music for them to learn to perform. But it pays off 100% of the time. So now we got to keep taking it to the next level. Like our penguins, when I was talking about that, I was like, you know what? Our penguins should have those like Freezy Pops in coolers that when kids are walking by, they should hand them a Freezy Pop. We should have like an old school like kid lemonade stand, before people come into the stadium, and giving them ice cold lemonade. Like, I'm thinking more about what that perfect experience looks, because if you win the perfect experience before they even come into your ballpark, you win. And I think very few people think about that. They think about just the 9 innings of the game, and they hope their team plays well.
Does your mind ever stop churning? I'm serious. Like, do you ever have like a meditative moment where you're just like, everything needs to quiet down for a little bit, or is this constant all the time?
My wife will tell you I sleep very well. Once when I wake up, I get up, I read, I run, I write, I start writing down ideas every single day, and I get going. But as sad as it sounds, I'm in my 30s, but by 9 o'clock, I'm done.
I can see that. So, hey, normally we'd finish up with what I like to call a lightning round, where I ask you a bunch of irreverent questions, but really I think we've kind of done that already. We're going to take a little twist on this, actually. You are on the hot seat because I'm going to give you banana trivia questions, and you need to answer true or false. Are you ready for this?
I'm sure I'm going to fail, but I'm ready.
Oh, this is going to be great. Okay, true or false? The scientific name for banana actually translates to fruit of the wise men.
I know it translates to something. I think you came up with that, but I'm going to go with the hard true.
That is true. You are correct. You are 1 for 1 so far.
1 for 1.
Nice work.
All right.
True or false? Rubbing the inside of a banana peel on a mosquito bite or on poison ivy will help keep it from itching and getting inflamed.
I know this one. True.
That is also true. All right. You are 2 for 2. I'm impressed. True or false? Inca warriors believed that bananas were an offering from the warrior spirits, so they would consume massive quantities before battle.
It's funny. It's very easy. I should go with false, but I'm going to go with true.
That is false. I made that one up.
Oh, all right.
I got you on that one. All right, good.
I like it.
True or false? More than 25 billion bananas are eaten around the globe each year.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
That is false. It's actually 100 billion bananas.
I think you said over. Now reframe that. I thought you said over 20. This is a joke. This is not admissible right now.
You're right. I think I might have. I meant to say 25 billion bananas, but I think I may have said over 25 billion bananas. You are correct.
I was feeling over. I will take credit for that.
All right. We will rewrite the rules. You get that right. Final one. True or false? Rubbing a banana peel on your teeth for 2 minutes nightly will help whiten them.
It's funny. I think that's actually true.
It is true. Can you believe that? See, now you should have every reason to have very white teeth.
It's funny. I've looked up all those statistics before because we do ridiculous trivia in our, like, when we get to know our fans, we go through and I've actually heard all that stuff. So that's weird that I've looked at the same thing.
It's funny. I had a feeling. I had a feeling when I started writing these up, and I'm like, he's going to know all these. I really have a feeling he probably knows all these already. So one last thing I wanted to ask you about. You obviously a lot of these things we're talking about today, and the passion that you have for the industry, and your approach to marketing, your approach to hiring, all these things are extremely interesting. Do they translate to any kind of business, or are you in a unique situation because you have such an event marketing kind of thing happening in Savannah and a local community, and the way you can attract a brand? Is this something that more businesses should apply or try, or is this something that you think you have a inside track on because of your business model?
No, it's a great question. I feel I've been fortunate to get a lot more traction recently. I've been speaking, all over the country at business conferences, not sports conference, but business conferences, about, how to stand out, how to create attention, and, how you can succeed in business and in life by this idea of being different. And so it definitely 100% translates. I just finished my first book. It'll be coming out in January, called Find Your Yellow Tux, and it's how to be successful by standing out. And, there's a practical way for any person to find a way to stand out in their life. And I believe everyone, even if you're an introvert, you have one thing that you're the best at. It's the best version of yourself, and to hide that and keep that from the world is a mistake. So I believe that, I basically do a step-by-step process in the book on how to do it, from, learning, finding out what you're the best at, trying small bets, simplifying your goals, and when to go all in on your beliefs. And, I follow the lead of my three mentors, and that is Bill Veeck, who's one of the most innovative owners of baseball teams.
Yes.
Walt Disney, and P.T. Barnum. And I made 3 homemade posters that are in my office that I look at every day, with 3 of my favorite quotes. And the reality is they found ways to dramatically stand out in their life, and it made their businesses so successful. And, Bill Veeck was the only one in sports.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
I definitely think it can apply everywhere.
Yeah, incredible. I was actually going to suggest to you that you should probably write a book, or maybe host a podcast, because I think you've got a lot of information to share.
Well, you're right. And I do have a podcast. It was Find Your Yellow Tux, but I believe in constantly reinventing. So yesterday, it just changed it to Business Done Differently. And it's actually a show within a show with constant different segments that are crazy, that will make you laugh, but also you learn about business. So really trying to find a new category of podcasts, and that will be coming out next week as well.
Well, good, because all of our listeners should also subscribe to that one. Since you're handling more of the business side on that, we're handling more of the sports side. We can coexist. We can still be friends.
I think we can.
Awesome. This is great. Jesse, thanks so much for your time. This was incredible. I really appreciate it.
No, it was a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
It's funny, as I kind of contemplated what is usually the lightning round, and as a fun way to kind of finish up, I knew I had to do something kind of special for Jesse, this crazy creative guy who comes up with wacky off-the-wall ideas. And so, banana trivia sounded like it would be fun. But even as I was coming up with it, I was like, he's going to know the answer to all these. He's probably already studied all this stuff, so he can use it in some marketing campaign, or some little, I don't know, some way of changing the tone of the game, or the fan involvement, or some trivia night or something like that. So I kind of knew that he was going to have a leg up there. And that's part of what impressed me so much about this, is that Jesse and his team think of everything. They take every touch point so seriously. They take every moment so seriously. And while you might think that he's just this, I'll just do whatever wacky thing I can come up with, I think what you should have taken away from that is his attention to detail, and his creative mind that never stops working, and the way he views culture, and the way he views hiring, and how important he takes it, and the time they take to hire the right people. I think all these things were fascinating. I mean, in minor league baseball, there's huge turnover. It's just known as one of those churn and burn type jobs. Somebody does it for a little while, and they move on to the next thing, and he's got 0 turnover. That says a lot about the environment that they've created with this team, and I thought it was really, really inspiring. So our next podcast, our next interview is going to be different but awesome in the same way. Josh Rowich, who is the Senior VP of Content and Communication for the Arizona Diamondbacks, is like one of the most intelligent and informed people that I've ever spoken to. It was great interview. Not quite the same energy as Jesse. I don't think anybody does, but it was so informative. He has such these deep visions on, he's worked with the Dodgers, he's worked with Major League Baseball, he's worked with the Arizona Diamondbacks. He knows how these businesses work, these professional businesses work, and working with players and working with entry-level staff and hiring social media, everybody from social media coordinators to marketing staff. This guy really knows his stuff. I'm excited about that interview coming to you guys. I interviewed him last week, and I can tell you it's super informative. So make sure you subscribe to the podcast, leave us a review, say some nice things, share it with a friend. These are all very important parts of how we build this business and build this brand. If you like what you're hearing from us, please send me an email, send me a question, just tell me how great it is, or tell me that you hate what I had to say. That's fine too. bclap@workinsports.com. So great to be a part of this. I love building this community and having you all there along for the ride. Until next time, I will see you later.